Hello. I sat here a little while ago in contemplation and bing, a song popped into my head and it's like, why? It's a long time since I've heard the song, so I thought, well, I'd better go and check, have a look at the lyric version. I'll come on to that a little bit later on in this video. This is sort of very much in the moment. In a Zoom chat earlier today came up the question of what do you fear? Well, do you fear death? Because it's one certainty. And if you're in the military or the fire brigade or something that would be like on the front line, then you're in a position that may lead towards that. So the answer will be to remove yourself from that situation, from that environment. It's entirely up to you. Depends how much you fear it. Statistically, it's more likely that you will just go to sleep one night and you will separate spirit from physical body. And then what comes next? Well, there are clues everywhere. Now, imagine the scenario, somebody has collapsed in the street. So let's look at what the system will do. Now, how many of you seen a reactionary unit, or is it more likely that what will be sent will be a response unit? There's a secret that is known only to one. That is a secretion inside yourself. Because that is where the truth is. It's how you feel, how something feels inside of you. The secret is to internalize everything. So, what do I fear? Very difficult question to actually answer, if I'm really honest. I don't exactly fear it, but I would not like to go through the experience of feeling like the world is closing in around me. Or would I? Because where would that lead to? I'm talking about when you're still in the womb. Most of you obviously won't remember that, but that's a sensation I remember. But then look where it leads. Now, let's turn the sort of situation round. Imagine if you came into this world, whatever level of understanding, of internal understanding that you're at this precise moment. Imagine if you came into the world with all those experiences. Now you're put into an education system. How do you feel you would be treated if you were armed with all this knowledge, all these experiences? Now when you're presented something in the classroom, how you would be able to answer, and what would you feel would happen to you? What would that education system, how would it treat you? So this is probably the reason why when you come into this reality, there is a memory wipe. One, you'd have an unfair advantage over everybody else. But two, I don't feel you'd actually make much progress. The system would you'd make yourself a target. Anyway, to the song. So a little bit of backstory. We can look at the external world. There is a thing called the League of Nations. Where is this going to lead? Now, it then became the United Nations. Now, when you internalize things, the world, the nations that really should be united, is basically every cell, every part of you should be united so there is no internal conflict. Now, there's a very good league, and this is the song that came into my head. It's by a group called the Human League, and the song is called Mirror Man. So I had a look at the lyrics. So I'm going to put the song in the description. I'm not going to break down the visual part of the video. I'll leave that to you, but there is plenty of references, plenty of clues to do with water. Look at the scenes, look at what's being presented, the colours, the way the two girls and the two backing vocalists, they look at each other. There is a sign that says, as the door opens, it says no visitors allowed. It's something you pass through, not to visit, it's something you're going to go through. So, the lyrics of the song. The water shines. A pebble skims across the face a dozen times. Think about what sort of face it is. Dozen, well, it's a reference to 12. A dozen times, then disappears, not a trace left behind. The thrower turns and walks away. A change of mind. That's a repentance. A radical change of mind is a repentance. Another start, a brand new day. So if at first you don't succeed, try again. The same blueprint as with walking. Then the song carries on, you know I'll change. If change is what you require, your every wish, your every dream, hope, desire. And then we go into the chorus. Here comes the Mirror Man. Says he's a people fan. Here comes the Mirror Man. Now internalize this song. This is all about reflection. It is all about what is being reflected to you, the Mirror Man. It's your own reflection. It is an internal dialogue. You know I'll change, if change is what you require. This is a dialogue that is going on inside you. This is your gut feeling, your Christ consciousness that is talking to you, saying, well, if you want change in the world, you have to be that change. It has to start within oneself. Because we're basically magnetic beings, so the energy that you feel is what you radiate out. If you look at this world as a stage, now look at actors. Which are the most successful actors? Generally, they are the ones that really become that character. They breathe life into that character. They become that character. They put on a very believable impression to the audience. You could say they've won them over, they've captivated them, they've held their attention because they have become that part. They are living that part, just like as a child, with whatever the toy is. In the imagination of that child becomes the driver of that toy car, or becomes the figurines with the doll's house, or whatever it is. So the mirror, it's your reflection. This reality is your reflection. Here comes the mirror man. Because if we add a bit of punctuation, if we add a slight pause, it changes the emphasis of that sentence. So it's not here comes the mirror man, it's here comes the mirror man. It's telling humanity, because this is the Human League. Says he's a people fan. Well, it's this Christ consciousness that's in all of us. It has your best interests at heart. Seek the kingdom within and all will be given to you is another way of saying this. If change is what you require, your every wish, your every dream, hope and desire, because you have the ability, you have the skills within you to create the world around you, whether you know it or not. You are God in a form of a human. But the game is so good. It's the ultimate level in this game. It is so convincing. And it does, and this reality will reflect and it will try and show you this. But it can seem so believable that you fall into this world stage and you believe the scripts that are being given to you. But just like the actor, you need discernment. You need to have a look at these scripts and see if that is a part you wish to play. Do you really want someone to write your script for you? Because if you accept a bad script, that is the death of your career as an actor. Hollywood shows this all the time. You get critics who will analyze and say, oh, this is terrible. Regardless, leave aside all the irrelevance of the material realm. I'm talking about, see this in the metaphysical, internalize this. Now you've got a world stage in which to play. You choose which parts you wish to play. Now there's nothing to say that you need to play a singular part. And if you look at the world and how you act in it, you'll probably find that you act in a slightly different way depending on the type of people these reflections that come to you. So if you are talking to a group of people who are on the spiritual path, you could talk about chakras, but would you talk with people generally on the streets about these things? So you're adjusting yourself, you're adapting to the changing environment, exactly what nature does. It adapts, it keeps moving like we keep moving, like the sun doesn't sit still in the sky, it keeps moving. It doesn't matter what your perspective is, what shape you think the earth is. From the perspective of being on this physical plane, the sun appears to move across the sky. But it's not remaining static, otherwise it would be like a magnifying glass and it would just burn one spot. That wouldn't be much good. So it keeps moving, and the sun, as it keeps moving, it's changing its perspective, it is seeing things all round. So you could say the earth is round, it depends what you class as the earth. To me, the earth is all of it. It is like expressed by Robert Henry in The Art Spirit. The portrait is not just the head. The portrait, the picture, is the entire painting within that frame. Presented to you is this veil, this external projection, this reflection. Now you only see a frame at a time. It is called time. It is a time frame. And in this reality, generally you will be in a conscious state of days for 16 hours and an unconscious state for 8 hours. So you are in 2 days. It is 2 days world, and it will whirl, especially when things aren't making sense. But if you can change your perspective and just be the observer, it's no different from any other film or any other presentation that's broadcast. You choose whether you want to watch it or not, and how much you want to be drawn into it, how much of it relates to you. Keep in mind that the whole time I've been talking, apparently there's There's rumours of war somewhere in the world, but has that even entered into your mind as I've been speaking, or have I got your attention? Have I given you a new perspective, something else to look at? That's the intention, that you look inside yourself. This whole thing about going within. That brings me on to another point. I said I'd do this, and this is this Fists of Anger meditation, Lana A LaBonte channel. I fell off for 2 days. Life got in the way, and there was 2 days where I didn't do it. So it's like I failed on the 21 days consecutive that I'd set myself. So 2 days lapsed. Now I've picked myself up again, and I'll start again, and I shall aim to achieve 21 days. But if I fail, I will just pick myself up again if I miss a day, and I will keep going. No different from learning to walk, really, is it? It's 3 minutes, but ideally you want take it from like 13 minutes in. If once you've done this a few times, you can skip the first part, and the whole thing will be a duration of about 13, 14 minutes roughly. It's not a lot to ask of yourself. It's time well spent. Now, my experience of this, it really helps focus. If you focus on the breathing, all those little aches in the body, it's like, 3 minutes, how much more have I got to keep going with this? It's like, I want to stop, my arms are aching, my shoulders are aching. You overcome that aspect of it. And what do you find? Well, from my personal experience, it's like it's like a backstroke. So you're pulling, it's almost like you're pulling white light over yourself. Ideally, what you're aiming to become is that expression that people say, oh, you think you're really it. Well, yes, you are. If you think about this, because this comes down to terminology and perspective. You have an aura. It is, another expression is your informed field. So there's your eye. Now, these bodies, these human bodies, they are a design. So maybe not in the sense that we have been told that it is a technology, but it is a biological technology. So you are IT, you are an informed field within a biological technology. So you are it. And you can become it. You can become one with yourself. Remember, it's divide and conquer. You're dividing yourself. You're separating your lower consciousness side. Now you have your reformation. You are reforming as you become one with yourself. And in this process, you recreate yourself, basically. It's something that is going on inside of you. It won't show on the outside. It will show, of course, to those that are on the same frequency. It will be like what I call a soul recognition. There won't be any words needed. Think of it in this way. You talk about television stations being broadcast. Now, with the old analog signal, it was picked up by an aerial. So it's something that moves through the air. It's a broadcast that is transmitted through the air, and then it requires some sort of device, an antenna to pick it up, and then some way of decoding it to give you a sound and a picture. Well, you have an antenna inside you, a moral compass as well, you could say, an internal structure. So yeah, I would say, if nothing else, as a prelude to doing the inner work, the language lessons of the heart, the addressing your shadow side, facing your fears, this would be a perfect step. I'm talking now from experience of maybe doing, I've even lost count, it may be 15 days now, and it is empowering. And you can feel, well, personally, I feel that sort of, it's like I'm pulling in this if it's in the air, then it must be something I can, because it's with the intention that I'm pulling this energy into myself, into this physical body, that then can be used to help energize myself, so I can then, as Lana says, you're doing this for you. And I love the thing, the thumb represents the ego, so you keep it, it does become uncomfortable the harder you grip, and it's like a feeling of anger, but this is something I'm having a problem with because I'm not finding any anger inside, but I'm still doing it because I'm feeling the benefits from it. And it's all about taking a step into the unknown, doing things we've not done before. We're up to 20 minutes. I will end on a final sort of a day-to-day analogy here. Imagine you are going to cross a road. Now, if you are a small child and there happens to be a ball or a little dog or something that's got your attention the other side of the road, you have no experience, so you will just walk out because you have no fear. You have not learned fear. But of course, as you get older, you learn fear. So now when you cross the road, there's that element of there might be a vehicle coming. I've now got to look both ways before I cross. But if that fear grows so strong, you're not going to be able to cross the road because you will be frightened of the possibility that you may be hit by a vehicle. But then when you overcome that, and you have the confidence, and you can look to the left and to the right, and you keep looking as you cross from one side to the other, you are going to successfully get across to the other side. You are crossing over a road in this physical reality. It is another blueprint that is being shown through everyday repetitive actions that we do. But if we don't look for the deeper meanings in these things, we miss so much. There's simple analogies. So if you can't figure it out from one side, look at its mirror counterpart. Here comes the mirror man. Look at the mirror, look at the reflection. So when there's an emergency, they don't send a reactionary unit, they send a response unit. Likewise, we're taught to be in fight or flight mode and react to everything, not have time to digest what is presented to us. But if we take time to evaluate these things, to weigh things up inside oneself, we can then respond. We're not having a mutiny on the vessel by this pirate that comes up that's anger or fear or wanting to defend its position, because there's no position that's even needed to be defended. And you're actually then creating a new world order within oneself. There is no chaos inside of oneself. Ken Wheeler gave a lovely analogy. It's like the Ouija board. Oh, shock horror, the Ouija board. Well, like you said, it's a piece of card and it's a piece of plastic. So where is the power in it? The power is the energy you give to it, because you believe it'll work. You empower these things. It's not in the cardboard and it's not in the plastic. Okay, maybe there's a bit of spiritual residue of the tree that's now been pulped and turned into card, but that's taking the thing a little bit too far. But it's the same with everything. It all works off of human energy, and where you place your energy is a huge harvest. So spend your energy, spend your time wisely, things that will benefit you. So reflect on the Mirror Man. I'll put the link in the description, and I will put the link in for Lana's 3-minute Fist of Anger meditation. Well worth doing. If you don't do anything else, it's not a lot to ask of yourself, but it also is going to help introduce self-discipline. It's taking action for yourself, and it's all about this reality will also show you something else. If you look at the pattern of things, it's like road traffic accidents. The insurance companies are involved. Nothing moves without the say-so of an insurance company, and they're always looking for somebody to blame. Who is going to take responsibility for what they call an unplanned event, an accident, in other words? That's a reflection of we should take, well, not should, hopefully you'll discover this for yourself, that we take responsibility for our own actions, our own words, our own thoughts. It's not down to anybody else. You come into this basically a computer game. You're Mario. You're married to the intellect and the organism, the organic body. That background scene is playing out. Okay, you've already had a fall. You've taken a step into the unknown and said, I want to have a human experience. And of course, a lot of the time when you come out into the light for the first year, a lot will go, because it's like, what the hell have I let myself in for? You've already taken a step into the unknown to have this human experience. So why not make the best of it? Make it a beautiful experience for yourself, rather than seeing all the fear and feeling all the negatives. But that's all part of the game, to overcome the fear. You have to learn the fear and then overcome it within inside yourself. Imagine if you're a child, for example, that cupboard with that door slightly open, there's darkness, there could be a monster in that cupboard. But could you overcome the fear to open the door and have a look and prove to yourself that it was all an illusion? It was all a figment of the imagination? Or did you put yourself through the process of focusing on that darkness behind that door and being frightened of it for several nights, and it's keeping you awake? You can't sleep because you've given your energy away. You've given your power away to something that didn't even exist. It's quite funny, really, isn't it, when you sort of start sort of reassessing yourself and seeing these things. And it's a game changer. You just need a shift of perspective. That is your pole shift. You change your polarity. See things in a positive way rather than seeing things in a negative way. That way you're able to cross the road with confidence without fear. Although you've learnt the fear and you're now aware of the environment around you, and you know not to cross in front of a vehicle because you're going to get injured or killed. I think you get the idea anyway. Well, we're up to almost 28 minutes, so I'm going to stop there and say love to you all, and have a look at the video and give yourself a little test. What can you see in that video? What can you see in the visuals that's being presented to you? What else can you get out of those lyrics? Is there anything in there that can benefit you? These are all the questions to ask yourself inside. This is just a mirror. I'm really just talking to myself and just sharing it and pointing out that the king has no clothes on because the king has no body. It's just an illusion. It's all a fantastic game. But in some ways it's a little bit too good, a little bit too convincing. So it's all about overcoming all of this and realizing that it is all a veil. It is all a reflection. And what a wonderful experience it really is. And I hope that you will find it for yourself. I really do. So love to you all, and ta-ta for now.